Tache or TC Takili. So I applied to the animation major for all the schools I listed in the video title. I'm going to be attending CalArts this fall as a character animation student. I'll be sharing some personal tips that helped me throughout the application process. I'm gonna use this speed draw of one of my pieces as the background because I have no idea what else to put, so please bear with me. Also, I'm using my phone to record the audio, so I apologize in advance if it sounds like trash. Disclaimer, please keep in mind that I deadass still don't know how I got accepted into the CalArts character animation program, so take my advice with a grain of salt. Also, whatever worked for me might not work for you, so keep that in mind. I'm not an admissions officer, so I wouldn't know 100% of what these schools want, and this is just my own speculation. For reference, I'm an international student that didn't go to CISA or any art-related program growing up because resources are non-existent in my third world country. This is also my first time applying to all these schools. So, quick story time. I actually didn't realize I wanted to go to CalArts until the summer of my junior year because I was aiming for RISD at the time. By the time I had this revelation, I was shit scared because I knew there are people that have been trained to apply to CalArts since the start of their high school career. And obviously, I was nowhere near that level of prepared. Luckily, I had some figure studies and observational stuff I did in the past, so that did fill slots in my portfolio. I religiously started working on my portfolio 4 months before the deadline, and let me tell you, I was stressed AF. One tip is definitely prepare earlier. The longer time you work on the portfolio, the easier it is on you. I say about 6 months to a year is a good amount. I don't really want to focus on my stats because this is a portfolio video, but for reference, I'll flash them up on the screen. Pause the video if you want to see them. Okay, so now I'll be talking about my portfolio. I'll be breaking this into 3 sections: figure drawings, observational drawings, and creative works. I honestly think it's a lot chunkier than the usual, and it was definitely overkill. You don't need this many pieces. So, figures are really important in animation. The tip is that you should make sure this part of your portfolio is the strongest. I decided to start off my portfolio with the strongest piece, which is an acrylic study. These poses range from 5 to 15 minutes. I think this is one of my strongest pieces because the skin coloring is pretty decent. Then I added these ink iterations of the same model to show that I can consistently draw one person. Here's a colored study of the same model with a bit more focus on wacky colors and form. Perspective study I did a while back. Honestly, not my proudest piece. Here's some studies I did of my grandma at the dinner table. This one was more focused on form and lines. And look how disappointed she is in me, as always. Another study of my grandma, but with more focus on value this time. This one's done with watercolor. Moving on to the more legit figure studies, I decided to order them from shortest to longest. I really like this one because I think the butt looks nice. Most of these are either done in ink, pastel, or graphite. This one's of my sister at her pole dancing class. I think it was 1 minute. And this one's from her aerial class. I decided to add these ones because they demonstrate my ability to draw dynamic poses. I mean, she's literally upside down, so. Added these to show my understanding of weight. I can't exactly remember whether I added this or not, but it's a short pose of my sister using her phone. These are the 5-minute poses that I liked. Here are the 10-minute ones. This section probably had the most pieces in my portfolio. I'd advise you to submit works that are done traditionally because that way the admissions people can be sure that you didn't modify your art after the first try. I also recommend showing your ability to shade or color in the longer studies instead of the short ones. Short ones should focus probably more on gesture and movement. Moving on to the observational drawings other than figures. This one's an acrylic study of my mouth. Why do my teeth look like that, you ask? I got hypodontia. Google it because I'm too lazy to explain, but this is why my talking may sound a little bit weird. Did some studies of my feet. I added them because I felt like I didn't get the chance to show my ability to draw feet in the figures and my sketchbook. This was done on Procreate. Here's an ink study of Jiufen Old Street. I really miss Taiwan. This was like a 40-minute line study. This is a 15-minute study of the Burmese wet market a block from my house. I thought it'd be interesting to show where I'm from through my art, so I added this piece. Max and Piper, my sister's birds. I miss them so much. Added this to show that I can color. Done on Procreate. Here's a study of my neighbor's chickens that think it's funny to scream at 3 a.m. They all aren't the same style to show that I can adapt to different mediums and such. This is definitely one of my weakest pieces. it's a 20-minute study of my room to show my attempt at drawing interiors. In this section, just demonstrate your technical skills. It doesn't even really have to be colorful as long as you can show that you understand things like perspective and such. Personally, I tried to hit the 7 elements of art here to show my understanding of basic skills. It's also good to add things that are personal to you so they can get a peek of your life. For instance, I added my janky ass teeth, which I don't think they see that often. Now onto the section I had the most fun with, creative works. I'll be talking about this in CalArts terms, so it might be different for other schools. Here we're talking illustrations, storyboards, character designs, environment designs, etc. With this, you can take 2 routes. You can either submit a bunch of non-related creative works or focus on one storyline the entire way through. I focused on one storyline that I developed a while back. So I introduced this section with a demo reel. I'll link it in the description below. If you have had past animation experience, then definitely add your demo reel. You don't necessarily have to know how to animate to get into CalArts, but it's a cool addition to your portfolio if you do. This is the first world building piece of my universe. I added thumbnails as well to show the process and such. I really like this piece because it was my first ever attempt at an environment drawing. It's the city of Yangon in the year 2288. The next piece is a mixture of Burmese traditional throne rooms with a cyberpunk concept. I really like the colors. Throughout the creative section, I decided to play with the concept of the calm before the storm. And you can see this is the calm with the cool tones and such. Here, I'm introducing the main character with a character template. As you can see, you don't have to have a Disney style to get into CalArts. I think my style leans more towards anime, to be honest. You can pause the video if you want to read more about her. This is my character in her room. I think characters interacting with their environments show your understanding of how to portray their personalities without outright stating it. So for instance, with this room, you can probably tell she's a very messy person. Here's a close-up of her desk from the last piece. I really want to show her relationships here. She's absolutely smitten for her girlfriend. Okay, so now I'm introducing her brothers. Their outfits are inspired by Burmese traditional clothing mixed with the cyberpunk concept. I really love these chaotic siblings. This one's a piece of the siblings interacting with each other during their childhood. I wanted to play around with the lighting here, so there are 2 versions of it. Character interactions with each other also helps develop the storyline more. So this piece really shows that the eldest has power over the other 2. Here's an animatic of the rising action from one of the characters' perspectives. I added this to show that I knew what an animatic was and I had basic editing skills. Not really proud of it now that I look back on it. Here's another world-building illustration of the city. This is the rising action from the view of the main character. Use a lot of red here to show that the storm is coming. It's inspired by downtown Yangon, and if you squint, there are a lot of Burmese Easter eggs. The climax. I used red again to show the storm. This is an animated storyboard, animatic. I'm not sure how to label it. I really wanted to play around on Procreate's animation function, so this was born. Okay, now to the final piece. It's just a storyboard of how I imagined the ending of this series would be. So to recap, my pieces consisted of illustrations of world building, character design, character interactions with their environment, character interactions with each other, animatics of major scenes, and a storyboard. The biggest tip I can give you is to try not to copy accepted applicants' portfolios and sketchbooks. It only hurts you in the end because these art schools get hundreds of applications for their programs, and of course, admissions people are going to pick up on trends and notice if you copied or heavily referenced someone's work. It's easier said than done, but be you. Initially, I was stressed out and desperately trying to bend my art style into what I thought CalArts wanted. You know, the Disney stuff. It was until my DGA teacher, Ms. Schamberg, if you're watching this, thank you so much, snapped me out of it and told me what's the point if they don't want you for who you are. After that, I said fuck it, if they don't accept me for who I am, then it's not meant to be. Now I'm really proud of my portfolio because I believe it's true to who I am and the type of art I want to create, not some album of copied works. Also, if you end up taking my advice from this video and get rejected, please don't beat yourself up for it. One rejection doesn't define your ability as an artist, and you should be proud of putting yourself out there and taking a risk. Lastly, I would like to thank all the people that helped me throughout my application process. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer them. For now, thanks for watching, and I hope I helped out even if it was just a tiny bit.